Monday night's regular scheduled meeting. And we will begin with consent item number 2, resolution to approve an alcohol license for Uncle G's Pizza, located 1851 Montgomery Highway.
There are no issues with this request from the Chief of Police or the City Planner.
Very good. Any questions for Ms. Dickerson on that item? Item number 3 is a resolution to approve an agreement with Liberty Mutual Insurance. Ms. Carrier is here to talk to us about the insurance for Hoover Historical Society.
Yes, sir. Good evening. The next 3 items are insurance requests to bind insurance coverage, and the first one is for our Historical Society. This does renew the property and liability insurance for them pursuant to our service agreement. The quote we have is an increase of $277 for a total of $1,637.
Any questions for Ms. Carrier on this agreement? Item number 4, Ms. Carrier, is also yours. It's a resolution to authorize an agreement with Global Aerospace for drone insurance.
Yes, sir. You may recall recently the police department leased a new drone to try with their program. And so they have received that drone in-house. We have it now. And so this resolution is an item to add that leased drone to our current drone insurance policy.
Any questions for Ms. Carrier on this item? Very good. And item number 5, Ms. Carrier, is also yours, a resolution authorizing an agreement with Chubb for Park and Rec insurance.
Yes, sir. Our current insurance policy for the Park and Recreation Board is up for renewal. The cost to renew this policy is approximately $4,900, and this is a 15% increase, but provides directors and officers insurance for that board.
Any questions or comments on that item? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Henson and Mr. Pepper are here, at least Ms. Henson, to talk about item number 6, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Community Partnership of Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening. So that is just for our continued permission to be able to partner with the United Way Area Agency on Aging so that we can continue our Meals on Wheels program and our nutrition program and all of our other programs that we're required to do to meet their standards. We are currently, since January, we have served 8,000 meals, which is pretty exciting. 3,000 of those have been delivered meals, and the rest of them have been in the facility itself. So.
Any questions for Ms. Henson on that item? Very good. Thank you, ma'am. I'm told item number 7 will be removed from the agenda. Ms. Dickerson, can you confirm that?
That is correct.
Okay, so we'll skip over item 7. We will not see that on Monday. We will move to item 8. Ms. Fuqua is here to talk to us about a resolution for a master software license for the courts.
Yes, sir. President Lyda, thank you so much. Yes, this is the renewal of the contract with our court software license. I'm asking for a 5-year contract license. It's a 6% increase from what our usual is $36,270. Will go up $2,176.20 to $38,446.20. It will be a period of a 6% over the 5-year period of time. So it basically just holds them down to a 6% for over the 5 years.
Any questions for Ms. Fuqua? Hearing none.
Oh.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Next 3 items are Mr. Connors, beginning with item number 9. That is a resolution to reject a bid for landscaping maintenance services.
Thank you, sir. We did utilize Alabama Turf Works, as you remember, last 9 months for maintenance at up near Oxmoor Heights Cemetery, Habersham entrance lots, the Public Safety Center, and the library. We had some ups and downs with that contractor. They bid again this year. We did We are recommending that we bypass their bid for the next lowest, which is about $1,000 up, using Grove V.
Any questions for Mr. Connor? Very good. Also, Mr. Connor, you have number 10, accepting a bid for landscape maintenance services.
This is our gateways landscape maintenance. So we're maintaining at exit 10, exit 13 along I-459, and then I-65 at Alford Avenue, I-65 at Highway 31. Low bid on this was Grove V again.
Any questions for Mr. Connor on that item? I noticed I-65 at Valleydale is not on there. That's maintained by Shelby County.
Most of it is, sir, an ALDOT. We did include that in our sweeping contract this year, so we're easing into maintenance at that interchange.
Very good. Any other questions for Mr. Connor? And finally, Mr. Connor, item number 11, accepting a bid for landscape maintenance services of various roadways.
Along a number of roadways, sections of Preserve Parkway, Highway 31, Doug Baker Boulevard, Ross Bridge Parkway, Chapel Lane, Galleria Boulevard, and Municipal Drive. The low bid on this one was Alabama Turf Works. So as I mentioned, they were kind of up and down the last 9 months. We feel like they would do a good job on the roadways contract. It's a little more their style, so we're recommending them as the low bidder.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Connor on that item? Very good. Thank you, sir. Item number 12, Ms. Walker is here for a resolution authorizing the mayor to purchase stop-loss insurance for the city.
Good evening again. So we have here with us Cooper Johnson is going to talk to us about the city's stop-loss insurance, which is attached obviously to our medical insurance. So the stop-loss insurance connected with the city's medical insurance with the recommended change, and also to entertain any questions that we may have regarding that. Okay, so Cooper Johnson with Valor Group, who's our benefit consultant.
Good evening.
How are y'all?
Good. Good to see you again.
Good to see y'all. So to kind of put some perspective, I brought the 2024 deductible threshold analysis by Tokyo Fire and Marine to kind of show the average employees and kind of where the average deductibles are. Y'all fall, and the way to read this is at the bottom, you see the employee count. Y'all fall when it comes to employees and retirees, right around, we're using that 750 number. And then we go up and we're looking for, okay, where's the optimal place for a deductible? And deductible meaning anything, you would be on the risk for anything up to a certain amount. And then after that amount, the reinsurance would kick in. And so the green is optimal. And so right now we're at $175,000 deductible. We're recommending an increase. And so what we did was we looked over in the information that was given. We have a copy of that. And so we actually went to the market and looked at all the different carriers and then did a 3-year look back to say what was the average we're receiving based on the different levels of insurance, reinsurance, where we'd be at the least net cost. And what we showed is if we raise the deductible from $175,000 to $350,000 based on where premiums are going, we would save an average of about $231,000 a year. And so the one option is we can do nothing and renew it granular at an 8% increase. Or our recommendation is to go to Lloyd's of London at a $350,000 deductible. And over the average of the last 3 years, we'd save $231,000 a year.
Any questions on that item? Very well. You'll be back Monday in case we crunch those numbers and have some questions.
Sure.
Very good. Thank you. Item 13, Ms. Cornett is here for a budget amendment.
Yes, this is a request for a budget amendment. Wendy, do you have the budget amendment to show them? Related to certificate of need, expenses, legal expenses. As y'all are aware, we have our hearing next week, next Wednesday, which we are hopeful about, but wanted to really be able to provide an estimate of what additional costs. You may remember a few months ago, we came and asked for a budget amendment for $500,000. And we used that $500,000. And that provided a breakdown of what items or what expenditures were used out of what's already been approved. The items that are highlighted in yellow or are the items that still are left to be paid. So as we prepared for our defense and went through these hearings, of course, that required attorney fees to do that. It required expert testimony to do that. It required court reporter fees to do that and judges' fees to do that. And so that is what has driven up the costs that need to be paid now. So that's the purpose of this budget amendment request.
Any questions for Ms. Cornett on the amendment?
Mr. President, I do have a couple of
Yes, ma'am.
questions. Ms. Cornett, I want to make sure that it's clear I'm not suggesting that we not pay the legal bills related to the certificate of need. So my question is more around whether we need a budget amendment. Last year, when we went through the budget process, we added $300,000 to the budget for legal fees, in addition to the $150,000 that was designated for this project. What I'm wondering is, can we get an accounting on where we are with legal fee spending to date overall? I know that, the overall budget includes both some general expenses as well as special projects.
Yes.
So if we could get a breakdown of what all's been spent so far with what entities and, what we anticipate for the rest of the year, I think it would be helpful in deciding whether we need a budget amendment for this amount.
Sure. Ms. Danielson, do you know what the most recent billing is that we've received from Wallace Jordan?
I do not know
I
off the
think
top
it-
of my head.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Let us gather that information. I know that we have been behind in processing those, not because we haven't been willing to pay them, but our process has been that Wallace Jordan submits the bill, and then we work through our processes to pay the bill, and then they wait until we pay the bill until we get the next month's. And I do know that we are a few months behind. I just
We are
don't know how many.
current.
I believe
Well,
on-
maybe with the ones that you've received, but I mean, when the services were provided.
Yeah, we paid through July.
Through July? Okay, okay, so we'll have August and the months of August and September that have not. So I think we can surely come back and provide an accounting of how those funds have been spent.
Thank you. And there would be other firms included as well, just to be clear, not just
Yes.
the Wallace Jordan firm, but,
Sure.
other firms that we have paid out of that fund.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Driver. Any other questions? Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
On the regular agenda, we will pay bills, and we will also look at item number 15, Mr. Aldaca, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Alabama Power.
Yes, sir. This is our standard easement agreement with Alabama Power to relocate a power pole for Fire Station 1 project. So just a standard that it's required for it to relocate it.
Any questions for the relocation of a power pole? Pretty simple, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move to the regular agenda, otherwise known as the weed and grass portion of our meeting, beginning with item 16, Mr. Martin, 1828 Val Green Lane.
Good evening, and we have at the top of the list 3 abatement cases coming before you for public hearing and consideration. 1828 Val Green Lane, 2049 Sweet Gum, and 2060 Wood Meadow Circle. At this present time, these are still out of conformity with city code, and as usual, we will provide an update for you Monday night.
Any questions on any of the 3 addresses there listed in 16, 17, or 18? Very good. Mr. Martin, you also have item number 19, a change to the ordinance.
Yes, number 19 is an ordinance to zone recently annexed property at 5410 Highway 280. This currently holds the American Family Care as well as a daycare center to the rear. The front portion of this property. It's recommended that it be zoned C2 to accommodate a variety of commercial operations that generally play off location along a major thoroughfare. And the rear portion of the property, as described in the ordinance, would be zoned C1, Neighborhood Business District. That would allow for the daycare center that's there to remain as a permitted use. So we would not be creating any nonconformities with our zoning ordinance. This does come with a recommendation from the Planning Commission.
Any questions for Mr. Martin on that item? All right, items 20 through 25, we will actually take as one for discussion purposes. Mr. Martin, you can explain better than I can, but the law does allow the city to recoup public funds expended to clean up private property.
That is correct. These are for locations that have been abated, that we have gone out and cut. We are in the process now of placing liens on each of those properties to try to recoup our expenses.
Members can see the addresses listed there. Of course, these will ring a bell as we have voted to approve abatement of these. Any questions on any of those liens that you see before you? Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the end of the work session agenda. We will gather Monday night at 6 o'clock. We're adjourned.